Hi guys, if you are watching this video, then that is super exciting because that probably means you are about to or thinking about starting a Teachers Pay Teachers store, which is very exciting. And I'm not gonna lie, kind of like the best thing I've ever done in my life. Well, maybe marrying my husband should be the best thing I've ever done in my life. It's probably the second best thing I've ever done in my life, and I highly recommend it. But if you are wanting to start a Teachers Pay Teachers store, or you're making your first Teachers Pay Teachers product, you might be thinking, oh my gosh, there are so many things that I just don't know. So in this video, we're gonna be talking about what you need to know before you post your first product. Now, I really tried to narrow it down. I don't want to overwhelm you. I'm not gonna lie, it is a lot. As my friend Emily over at Joyful Noise Teaching says, it sounds like a lot because it is a lot. So I really tried to narrow it down so that it wasn't overwhelming. I tried my best. I apologize if I did not hit that mark, but I tried. Now, if you are new or thinking about starting your Teachers Pay Teachers shop, down below I will link a checklist to getting started, which tells you all the things you need to do in order to get started. And I will also link our new TPT seller playlist, which has things like tips for new TPT sellers, how to create your first product, how to make thumbnails, like how to do all these things, lots of tutorials, lots of great stuff. So definitely check that out below as well. And if you think you might want to do this TPT thing, then definitely hit the subscribe button because we talk all TPT all the time here. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, friends, so I have, I think, 8 things today that I want to share with you that you need to know before you start your first product. Now, number 1, the first thing you need to know before you, hopefully before you start your first product, is that your first product actually has to be free. The way that TPT is set up, your first product is your primary free resource, and then after that you can purchase paid products. The reason I put this in here is because I did not know that. And so I made my first product. I was all excited. I was gonna post it, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't list it for money and say like how much money I wanted it to be. And then I realized it's because the first one has to be free. So then I was like, there is no way I'm making this free because I spent so much time on it. I had to go make a new one to be my free one so I could post the other one. It was a whole big thing. So I want to let you know your first product does have to be free, so don't be freaked out when you see that. After you know that, the second thing you need to know is who you're making products for. So you'll hear around the internet people say, you need to have a niche, you need to have a niche, you need to have a niche. And a niche is basically just your little corner of the internet where what you like and are good at and what teachers want meets. So for example, on this YouTube channel, my niche is helping Teachers Pay Teachers sellers with really specific advice. And like that is my little niche, is here is super specific, really actionable advice for your TPT store so that you can move the needle, make money, all of that good stuff. And that's my little niche here. You want to have a niche on TPT. Now, if you don't have it all figured out at the very beginning, I wouldn't stress about it. I feel like people make a really big deal about it. It doesn't have to be a big deal. But your niche is probably going to be part of who you are. So I teach elementary music, so my niche is elementary music. If you teach 2nd grade, then your niche might be 2nd grade. Now you can get more specific than that. If you teach 2nd grade, then maybe you want to talk about 2nd grade science resources or 2nd grade guided reading resources, or just all of those different things. Whatever it is that you're good at and enjoy and people want, those are the things you should focus on. Now, honestly, the reason I say like don't stress about it too much is because you will change and you'll have different ideas as you go through. But I want you to have in mind who your product is for before you start creating it, so that you kind of have that person in mind when you're picking out your fonts and your colors and your, how it's going to be set up and all of that kind of stuff. Is the teacher that you are after someone who likes really cutesy things? Are they much more like simple and just want things plain? Are you looking for differentiated resources? Just those kind of things. Just have kind of an idea of what you want to be known for and what you will want your niche to be before you get started. That way you just kind of have a purpose in mind. What you don't want to have is, here's a couple of like 2nd grade math resources, and here's some like high school science resources, and all of those different things. And your girl is the queen of having all of the interests and all of the hobbies, so I get it. But when it comes to your story, you want to have something just a little more specific. It doesn't have to be super specific. It can be just 2nd grade. That's fine, but just have something in mind before you get started. All right, number 3 is copyright. We're not gonna go super into copyright right now, but what I will tell you is that you need to make sure that you are not infringing on anyone else's copyright. So make sure that your ideas are your own, and also make sure if you are using any clip art or any fonts or any borders or any of that kind of stuff, which by the way, if you're looking for it, you can find that you follow other people's terms of use. So for most clip art artists on TPT, they typically say that they want to have a clickable link back to their store and their little button in your product. And so you want to make sure that you're just following all of those rules. You cannot just find random pictures on the internet and use them. So make sure that you have the right to use whatever it is you're using so you're not infringing on anyone else's copyright. You want to get this right at the beginning so you don't have to go back and change everything. All right, now that you know about copyright, you want to go and actually make your first product. So typically people make their products in a couple of different applications, but specifically PowerPoint is the number one that is the most common. Google Slides is also good. You just have to be careful about securing things, which we'll talk about in a second. I use Keynote, which is basically just the Mac version of PowerPoint. And then a lot of people also have been making resources in Canva. So those are kind of the main ones. But the reason I'm telling you this is that when you go to make your first resource, you do not want to make it in Microsoft Word. Because in Microsoft Word, if you add change anything, then it shifts everything around, versus on PowerPoint or Keynote or Canva, you can add text boxes and you can move them around so that you can easily lay out the page the way you want it to look. And if you change something, it doesn't completely destroy everything. It's so much easier to work with, and once you figure this out, it'll change your life. So use PowerPoint, use Keynote, use Canva, use Google Slides, but do not use Microsoft Word. I'm kidding, it's not evil, but don't use it. Now, after you have made said product, and I will link some tutorials down below in case you would like more help with that aspect of it, then you want to make sure that everything is flattened so that people cannot steal your work or steal the clip art or anything that you have used from other people. So what that means is if you have a Google Slides resource, you're usually going to want to save those slides as images and then insert them into the background of the image. That way people cannot take any of the clip art out. They cannot, steal your work and use it for something else because it's stuck to the background. And it's also not moving around, which honestly is significantly easier for the kids to maneuver. So there's that too. Same kind of thing if you are making a PDF. You can save your slides in PowerPoint or Keynote as images and then reinsert them into a new slideshow and then save that as a PDF, and that will flatten them. That's a good free way to do it. Do be aware that every time you save a slide as an image, it gets a little bit less nice quality, so a little bit of the quality goes down every time you do that, so do be aware, but it is an option. Other paid options are you can use things like Flatpak. So Flatpak is a application. You can get it on Teachers Pay Teachers. I've never used it because I use Keynote and it doesn't work with Keynote, but I know a lot of people use that and it helps secure things. You can also use Adobe, and you can protect your products on Adobe so that you can password protect them. You can add all sorts of different things to make sure that no one can take those clip art pieces and copy them and paste them, or take your stuff, take your name off of it and then sell it as their own. All of that kind of stuff is something you want to be aware of. Don't be stressed out about it, but be aware of it. All right, the next one is when you are actually posting your product, really pay attention to your thumbnail and your cover and your preview and your description. This is one of the biggest mistakes that I made when I first started my Teachers Pay Teachers store. Is I would get so excited to post my new product that I would kind of, not do a good job on this section. And then what would happen is that it didn't work very well and it didn't quite do its job. So all of these things are on your product's sales page, and on a sales page your goal is to get people to buy. You're selling things, so you really want to make sure you're convincing people to purchase. So that happens in a couple of different ways. Your title and your cover and the first few lines of your description are all going to be what people see when they search something. So you want to make sure that one, those have search friendly keywords. So things like if you're doing fractions, you want to make sure that you say fractions in there. Making sure that just whatever you type in is kind of what teachers would be typing in if they were going to look for your product. So no cutesy names. But those are the three things that people see when they are searching. And so you want to make sure your cover is, clear, it's not cluttered, it's not ugly. It's easy to see, it's, nice and visually appealing. It has a very, you know, large font that says what the product is, and then also pictures of the product so that they can see it. The title and the first few lines of the description should really show what it is so that they immediately know whether that is something they are interested in learning more about or not. Then once they get to your sales page, you also have spaces for thumbnails, for a preview, for a video preview, and for obviously more in the description. Use as much as you possibly can. I don't always, but I try to use my cover, all my thumbnails, and my preview, and the video preview, and the description to really make sure that I am maximizing the amount of selling that I have. The more information you can give people, the more likely they are to purchase, because typically when someone doesn't purchase, it's because they don't know enough about your product. So make sure in your description you're saying exactly what is in there, exactly how many pages, all of those things, and then also that you are just, you know, really making sure that people understand what it's for and who it's for so they are more likely to purchase. But don't just fly through that section. Next up is pricing. This is one of the hardest things to do, but specifically what I want to say about pricing is that TPT takes a cut of what you make. That's, you know, the price that we pay for being on their platform. And along with that, you want to make sure you're making enough money for it to be worth it. So if you are pricing things very low, sometimes TPT actually makes more money than you are. So I hate seeing $1 or $2 resources. Those just don't make a lot of money. I would say shoot for $3 and above. Now that does not mean your one-page worksheet should be $3. What it means is that you need to have products that have enough value that you can price them at, you know, $3 or $4 or higher. So make sure that your products are, you know, full, they have quite a bit of things in them, they are high quality, all of that stuff. And then you want to tackle pricing. The thing I want to tell you about pricing is not to stress about it, because you can go back and change it at any time. What you should know about pricing is how you want to price your resources. There's not like a magic formula for how to do it. There's even some suggestions that I don't agree with floating around the internet. What I want you to do is look up what similar products on TPT are selling for. So if you are doing, you know, 10-page worksheets, okay, look up what 10-page fraction worksheets are selling for, and then see what the, you know, how that one relates to yours. So maybe you find a 15-sheet worksheet set for fractions. That one should be priced higher than yours because it's got more than yours. If it's a 5-page worksheet set, then it should be priced lower than yours. So just take those things and kind of gauge them that way to see how yours should be priced. And it's not all just number of pages. It also includes, you know, how high quality is it? Does yours look nicer than theirs? Is it, you know, available in color and in black and white? Like, what is it value-wise that it has, and how does that compare to what's already selling? This is the best way to price your resources, and I will link down below a more in-depth video about how to price your resources, because that's the best advice I can give you. So check that one out. All right, 2 more things. The next one is these are both more psychological things than anything else. And the next one is that people will buy your resource. It's really typical for teachers to think that they, you know, aren't good enough to sell their resources, or their resources aren't pretty enough, or they don't have enough going on, or they haven't been teaching long enough, or whatever it is, and kind of have these excuses for like why you shouldn't sell your resources. There is someone who wants your resource, and there is a customer for every seller. Some people really like my resources and some people don't. Some people really like other music teachers' resources and some people don't. So some people buy from me and some people buy from other people, and that's fine. So there are people out there who will want to purchase your resources as long as they are good, high quality resources. And if you've used them in your classroom with your kiddos, which is what I'm assuming you've done, because that's usually how we start, then you know that it's a high quality resource because you've used it, you've tested it, you know that it works. So don't be scared, go for it. You can change literally everything later. Just go for it. Just go for it. And don't be worried. And the last one, it might sound a little contradictory, and that is that you probably won't make sales at first. There's this fallacy on the internet that people think that starting like an online business means that you're like immediately gonna make all this money. It's not true. If you think about like in the real world, a normal business takes 3 to 5 years to turn a profit. So like this is not something that you want to do if you're like, oh, hey, I need money for this weekend. You need to really think through and think long term with this business, because that's what it is. It's a business. So make sure you're thinking long term, one. And then along with that, you want to, you know, be aware that you're probably not going to make money right off the bat. And even as I say it, I sometimes will post a new resource and then I'm like sitting there checking my phone every 5 minutes being like, oh, did someone buy it? Did someone buy it? The answer is no, no one bought it, because usually older resources do better on TPT. So just don't stress if you don't make a lot of money, you know, at the very beginning. If you don't sell a lot at the very beginning. I made like $7 in my first month on TPT and like $9 or $7 the second month. So it's slow going at first. You can do better than that, obviously, but don't expect to become a millionaire overnight, because that's not a thing. So make sure that you kind of just have that in the back of your mind as you're working, and just, you know that the sales will come, but it may not be today. I hope that's not a disappointing note to end this on. All right, friends, I hope that that was helpful. Again, I will link lots of videos down below so that you have lots more information. You can feel free to leave me a comment down below, or even better, shoot me a message on Instagram. That's usually where the best place to contact me. And it is at Becca.e.davis is my TPT Instagram, where we talk all TPT, so you can get lots of tips over there as well. don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're thinking about or have already started your TPT shop, and I will see you next time. Bye.